All right, everybody, welcome back to the Hunter Base Podcast. What do Maverick Hunters do when they're not hunting Mavericks? They back to the base, recharge, and shoot the shit. And this is our first video version of the podcast.
It happened.
Yeah, it happened. We're trying it out. If you guys like this, we're obviously not going to be in person every time, but if you guys like this, let us know. Comment, tweet.
We'll let you
send us something.
Do something.
But anyways,
you don't have to. It's cool that you just watch or listen.
So again, it's I'm Zeromaster, and we have Canadian Jutsu here.
What's going on?
And Kaluna is
and my cat.
And apparently, I dropped my phone. Oh, it's over there. That doesn't matter. I don't need it. Okay, so the main topic we're going to get to today is we're going to talk about Solo, a Star Wars movie, because we just saw it last night. Actually,
yeah, we saw it last night, and we were pretty hot off the heels, but we said to ourselves, you know what, let's sleep on it. You know, just let it leave our mind.
Slip.
Yeah, let it leave our minds for a sec, and then come back to it nice and fresh in the morning.
Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of glad we did that, because it kind of gives us an idea of what.
Yeah, and this will be sort of a like not only about Solo, but also just sort of a general discussion about the direction that Star Wars has been going since the Force Awakens came out.
Should we start off with that, with Force Awakens and the other movies, just a brief thoughts on?
I think so.
So for me, when I first saw the Force Awakens, I hated it. I didn't like it. When I saw it a second time on Netflix when it came out, then I started to appreciate it a little more.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's okay. I don't think it's as good as everybody else says. I'll watch it. Yeah. Basically over other movies in the franchise. But I think it's okay. Just okay, in my opinion. What about Force Awakens for you?
Force Awakens for me, I didn't have as much of a negative reaction to it as you did. Like, not saying that you had complete, like, I hate this whole movie. It's just more along the lines of, like, my criticism of it. I think the only thing that bothered me really was the fact that it was retreading the old story. Yeah,
that didn't bother me so much. It just kind of I don't know. It just kind of felt like we've seen this before.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is like the overarching plot is very, very similar, if not identical to A New Hope. Like down to the droid with the hologram that linked to somebody else, that type of stuff. Giant Death Star, planet killers.
Yeah,
you know, like
I thought that jumped the shark a bit.
Yeah, I mean,
for Star Wars,
it's one of those things where the thing that made me like it was the characters.
One of my biggest problems was anything to do with the villains, like the First Order. Like, I thought they were too powerful for if you comparing the First Order to the Rebels during the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Like, there's no struggle for them. They're just powerful.
Yeah, well, but that, like, you have to understand that, like, when we talk about, like, an empire versus a rebellion, right? And yes, the rebels won, and democracy was slowly building in the galaxy. You have to remember that the empire still had far-reaching tendrils.
Yeah,
just because they took down the emperor doesn't mean that everything is peachy keen anymore.
That's true.
And with that, you know, they're not publicly executed. They may be put in jail rather than whatever, because the empire went out, found everybody, and just murdered him. you know, like there was, what was it, Order 66? Kill all Jedi.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Whereas in, you know, once the rebellion won, they had to slowly reinstall the government, but the empire didn't really go away. It just sort of said, oh, well, we'll just back off. And then they came back under a new guise called the New Order.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's, to me, I never felt that it was too, because we have 20 years between, you know, Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. It's more than that, even, I think.
2030.
Yeah, 2030. That we miss a lot of stuff, and that's that feeling and that crutch that you're just like, man, they seem way overpowered. They seem too much because you haven't really seen the build. Whereas with the Rebellion, we constantly see them building better and better, right? We go from a small time, you know, farm hand, and he joins the rebellion, and he joins one firefight in the greater picture. Then we see the Battle of Hoth, so it increases how big the rebellion has become and how the Empire is actually going after them now. And then Return of the Jedi, even with the battle on whatever the Ewok planet's name was, I've forgotten.
Oh, it's left. Endor.
Oh yeah,
Moon of Endor.
Yeah, the Moon of Endor. You know, like we had that feeling that the rebellion was starting to win, whereas the Order had already been around. If you read some of the extended universe stuff, it had been around doing, you know, philanthropy work. You know, like being
philanthropy.
Yeah, philanthropy. Like where they're just like, oh yeah, no, we're great, we're helping restore planets, but just bow your knee to us. You know, so exactly, it just sort of ended up sort of being like that towards the end. So I was able to give them credit. Like, I understand where you're coming from though, because there is that feeling of, wow, like, how could they get away with building this gigantic planet that can destroy other planets?
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, that's Force Awakens. Just to quickly go over the other ones, Rogue One, I really liked it. I've only seen it once. I haven't rewatched it yet on Netflix, but I really liked it. I kind of feel like, and this is something you had mentioned to me last night, that there wasn't a ton of time to get to know the characters and have development. So that is a little lacking. It's a little lacking on the character side, but like, I think it's just like, for me, it was just a movie to say, this is how we got to episode 4. Like, this is how you always hear in episode 4 about the plans for the Death Star. Yeah. That movie's basically, how we got the plans for the Death Star.
That's how we got them. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, this is many Bothans died. We know who the Bothans are now. Yeah. So like, it's like stuff like that. So that's why I like Rogue One, and I don't put it on the same level as the other Star Wars movies, because it's really just a Star Wars story.
Yeah.
So
it's
just part of the universe. Yeah.
Yeah. I have to say though, like, there was a lot happening in Rogue One, and it had a lot to accomplish, right? It had to set up, and it also felt like it needed to tease towards the old and sort of cater towards the old as well. And that sort of hurt it, but also aided it in some things. It's just there's always that feeling of the characters that we're watching, right? That we're supposed to care about. We're supposed to care about the main girl because she's related to the guy that created the plans for the Death Star. But we already know her ultimate fate, right? So what we do as an audience member a lot is we look out and we root for a character here or there. But because all of them don't appear in any other Star Wars franchise, you get detached, because you're like, well, do I really need to care about this guy? Because I know that he's just a means to an end, which is the Death Star plans. And that's why as an English literature thing, you know, like, the ultimate fate clause is the idea that, you know, if someone knows the ultimate fate of a character, if they know what happens to them, they actually have less connection to them in like the grand scheme of things. And that's the same way I felt as I looked at a lot of the characters, and I'm like, can you remember any of their names? You can remember their faces. Yeah. You can remember certain things that they did throughout the movie, you know, but their names just flowed off because you didn't get enough time, or you didn't care enough to do it. Like, imagine if there was a prequel movie that had them getting all together to become Rogue One, and then it was the Death Star plans, right? Exactly. Instead of it being one movie where it's like, we're all together, we're rebels, ha ha ha, and then boom, plans dead. Right. Yeah. I think it would have aided in getting people to care that we know about their ultimate fate, but we don't spend enough time for us to give a crap.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that was my biggest problem with Rogue One. The story, I really liked how it was structured. I liked how they led, and everything felt like an escalation. It never felt like we were like, all right, here, now this is the part where Leia comes out and starts dancing with the Ewoks for like 5-10 minutes. Like, you know, when I want to get back to Luke and the Emperor, for example, right? So there was none of that in Rogue One, and I really liked that. Right, it didn't feel like a side quest, which leads us in to The Last Jedi, which I really liked a lot.
Just before we go into The Last Jedi, I do want to talk about Rogue One. Is, like I said, I'm not as harsh on it for having a lack of character development for 2 reasons. One, because these characters only revolved around this film, and 2, it's not like a main series chapter. So like, if there's like a whole expanded universe stuff on them and whatnot, that's good enough for me. Yeah. I don't need to have a movie to set them up and then one to like do the thing and the other thing. They didn't need their own trilogy. I understood what it was.
I said I don't even want a trilogy. Like, I just wanted like a movie where they got together and then it was the Death Star plans, because like, really, if you look at all of their character types, like who they're supposed to be in the story, like the daughter of the man that created the Death Star, that he had to leave her. And then she had to grow up by her own, and she was raised by the guy from Clone Wars and Rebels, where he was a part of the Resistance, which he could never stop after that. He became sort of obsessed, so she left. And like, you hear these stories, but you don't get to see them. And I think that's the biggest thing. It's like you see her as a child, then boom, full adult in the last month of her life. And that's the thing that happens to a lot of the characters. Like the main male lead, he was the dirty side of the rebellion that we never saw, right? The idea that these weren't a bunch of heroes. No, these were people that rebelled and fought and killed people, killed informants. So nothing could lead back to them. You know, they weren't squeaky clean. I'm like, see, this is why there's so many good things, but I can't care about the character. I can't feel like I've grown or thought of this character other than that. Yes, they were. And when you say, oh, they provided their use, it's like saying, well, a hammer nailed the nail, right? Yeah. The hammer did its job. But when it comes to a movie, you want a little bit more than that.
Yeah, I will say that I did think it was really cool that they had talked about, like, in that movie specifically, how the guy who designed the Death Star, he didn't want to do it. So he purposely put in this weakness, but didn't make it look like a weakness. Yeah. So anybody who is, in the know on the Death Star wouldn't know except for him, and that's why he made this like a very
well, that was part of his plan, because he knew that the guy, General Hux, I believe his name, not Hux. No, Hux is the main villain in.
He's one of the villains in the
new trilogy. But that general guy, he killed everybody that designed it, so none of that stuff could leak, right? That nothing could leak. But they never thought that the person that created it, that made the plans, did it. And like, man, imagine us watching Mads Mikkelsen's character like slowly do that. I know it takes an extra like 2 to 3 minutes really just to sort of see that, as he's building and he's looking at the plans, and he's looking at the locket that he has of his daughter and his wife, then that's that key moment where we as the audience see him being like, I have to figure out a way to, because this is going to kill millions and millions of people.
Yeah. And I think that my final thoughts is I think Rogue One's pretty good. Like, I think it's pretty good.
I sound like I'm complaining about it.
No.
It's more along the lines of like, I liked what it was setting up. It just didn't have enough time for it to grow on me.
And it's important to be critical of some things, but it can't be perfect, right?
Yeah.
So there's no such thing as a perfect movie. I mean, there's one that I like, unless it's Miami Connection.
Yeah. Night at the Roxbury's.
Night at the Roxbury's. Perfect 10.
Perfect 10.
11 out of 10.
Best Will Ferrell movie ever.
Fight me.
Yeah.
So yeah, Last Jedi. I'm in the camp that I really like it. Yeah, I think you are as well.
I really liked it. I will give everybody the side quest thing. Yes, it felt like that. That midpoint in a video game where two characters that you'd think are like trapped in this war, right? Where it's like, if the ship stops or slows down, the Empire ship catches up and then they're dead, right? But then they can just take off for a couple of days to this other planet to go get this one MacGuffin to bring it back, right? Yeah. That to me was, I think, a little bit lazy. Now, to me, I really wish that they had gone to the Empire ship and done that side quest there. Like the idea that they infiltrated, General Hux's ship under his nose and got the piece that they need and the fuel they need to go.
Well, they did eventually do that.
Yes, they eventually did that.
They had to go to the casino to get the guy. Here's my missed opportunity with that. I would have been fine with the whole casino scene if it was Lando they got. And everybody thought that's what it was going to be. Yeah. But they got some other guy, and it's just like, who the fuck is this guy?
Well, because they don't, like, this is the same thing that's been happening in Star Wars lately, is they're trying to make it, there are villains and then there are heroes. There's no gray area between them. There's no struggle like there used to be, right? Like the struggle of Luke was the biggest thing that was over all three movies in the original trilogy. The struggle of Anakin was that thing. Whereas in Luke succeeded in leaning back into the light, Anakin didn't. He went back into the dark. And this is a theme that Star Wars has always done, Whereas in Rey, never tempted. No one's ever tempted that's on the good side to be evil. And whenever you think, oh, like that main commander chick, she's like, oh, she's being a terrible person. She's going to sacrifice all of us. But she had a plan all along, which is probably the worst thing in that movie was why not tell the crew? There was no reason not to tell the crew in that movie.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it gets fucking Poe if I got ostracized because he tries to lead some sort of small rebellion inside this ship that wasn't necessary if she had just said, Poe, I have a fucking plan.
Yeah, she made Poe look like a fucking idiot. I love Poe. That was one thing about the movie. I'm just this was unnecessary. Yeah. You could have just said, this is the plan. Do you not trust your own pilots enough?
No, apparently not. Because it seems like on the outset, Poe's right. It seems like a suicide mission. It seems like, why are you doing this? This is ridiculous, right? Whereas if she had just spoken up, it's fine. And those are the only two criticisms that I have of the movie. I really like the stuff between Luke and Rey. I thought that stuff was really well handled. And all the people that are like, oh, you threw away the lightsaber. I'm like, that's the antithesis of it. Yeah. Is we put so much merit.
I love that joke.
Yeah, we put so much merit in objects, right? The lightsaber called out to her. It must be Darth Vader. It must be this. All these theories. And then Luke takes a look at it and he's like, I don't give a crap about this garbage. He had already, and that's not supposed to show disrespect to what came before. It's to show Luke's an ass now. Sorry, your hero from your childhood has had it rough.
Is an old man.
And a person that succumbed to fear, which is the biggest thing that the Sith do to try and kill Kylo. And that's or Ben. At that point, he was Ben. But even then, you can say, oh, it tarnishes, but that's that journey that the hero needs to go through. That's the thing that, guess what? Everything isn't peachy fucking rainbows after you get that one victory and you think you've gotten peace and reconciliation with your father. It's not that simple. And to see the same thing happen to Rey, part of me really wished that she was of the Obi-Wan clan. She was a Kenobi. But at the same time, I'm totally okay with the idea that she can come from nothing.
I like that she's not somebody special. Yeah, that's the thing. She's not just from a certain family or whatever. Because we already got that with Kylo Ren.
Yeah,
he's basically the next in the Skywalker line, technically.
Technically, yeah.
So it's just and the thing that we didn't learn anything about Snoke, which I was totally fine with. I wish we maybe would have got a little more. But people were he's Darth Plagueis, all this stuff, and he's Jar Jar Binks, all these things. That's what people hated. They're like, none of my theories were right.
Yeah,
and it's just I'm glad your theories were right because some of them were fucking dumb.
Yeah, they're fucking weird.
It's just and there is something to be desired from that movie. There is stuff there's some things were not answered, but again, it's the middle chapter, just like Empire Strikes Back. You didn't get all the answers in that one. You were and the only thing that this movie really did is it made me really want to see the last part of it.
Last part, yeah.
Which is we're getting either next year, I think, or...
Yeah, I don't think there's any delays from what I hear.
Yeah.
The part 9 is...
Well, the fact that Solo came out in spring/summer instead of in December.
Yeah.
The other ones have been coming out. At least maybe it'll be December, but that's a little close for them to start promoting that movie. And since they haven't done anything, we're probably not getting it till next May or December.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, we're not. We're getting in 2009 for sure. 2009's movie
2019.
roster. 2019. What was I saying?
2009.
2009. Yeah, 2019 is going to be a crazy year because the last part of the MCU is happening with the part 2 of the Infinite War.
Yeah.
Where the old cast and then everything is going to be new from then on, there's going to be a lot of things wrapping up in 2019. So I would be very amiss that Disney wouldn't want to capitalize on something like that. 2 major things like MCU, the first phase of the MCU, the old guard of the MCU is leaving versus Star Wars is getting its final part of the trilogy.
Exactly. And it's very interesting. So those, I guess, are really our thoughts on those three movies. I did want to mention a little bit. I like the thing with Kylo and Rey.
Where they were sort of connected in sort of a weird way, which like people are like, oh, they're connected. I'm like, didn't you pay attention to Snoke? Snoke was connecting them. He was doing that to them. Yeah. You know, and that's like he, as much as he wasn't on screen doing things, he was doing things behind the scene. He thought that he could entice Rey into doing something, you know, to joining his side. Now, his only flubub was the fact that he was calling Kylo names, you know, and Kylo's like, no, I'm not a poopy head, and he chopped him in half.
You don't make fun of Swallow Ren.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, good old shirtless man.
Swallow Ren. But yeah, there's not really much more to say without, you know, deep diving into those movies. We already spent 20 minutes talking about.
Well, I mean, that's pretty good for a recap of like almost 3 movies.
Yeah. So what I'd like to do is, before we get into Solo, I'd like to take a quick break.
Sure.
Don't go anywhere. Like Ian of H3 says, if you leave, I will hate you forever.
I won't. I still love you.
He'll still love you, but I won't. Love you. So we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Hunter Base Podcast. We're finally going to talk about Solo, a Star Wars story.
Oh boy!
So we saw it last night, and too long didn't read.
Yeah,
it was good.
It's pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah.
My expectations of a lot of things changed when I saw it, so that's good.
Oh, yeah. No, when I was going into this movie, I was definitely like, it's one of those things where for characters like Han, for example, like if you read the Star Wars Legend extended stuff, right, which is no longer canon, but it used to be canon, right, is like he did a lot of stuff back before he joined the Rebel Alliance and everything like that, before even A New Hope. So it's cool to know that, yes, he is that. There are a couple of things that I thought was sort of like ham-fisted in. One being how he got his name. That was kind of lame. Like, I mean, if it was him that said it, I would have been totally cool. But the fact that it's just some random Imperial, like, sign-up guy that's just like, so what's your name? He's like, it's Han. What's your family name? I'm going to go with Solo. And you're just like, what? You can't, like I said, if it had come from Han, it would have been totally fine. I would have been like, yeah, no, he doesn't. He's like, you have to give me a surname or you're not getting in. And he just says, well, about myself, I don't know, Solo? Han Solo. And then he could make a stupid joke about how it sounds like, you know, masturbation or something.
There is a porno out there called She Handles Him Solo.
She Handles Him Solo?
And on the front of the box it says, all right, kid, I'll just blow this thing and go home. Spoilers, by the way.
Spoiler alert.
I mean, it's going to be the title.
In the porno, someone gets blown. Spoiler alert. We didn't even give a spoiler alert for fucking Solo, a Star Wars story. But the porno? That's what we draw the line on spoiler talk here, okay? It's very important.
Yeah, well, if you haven't seen Solo, a Star Wars story, we are going to be talking about spoilers.
Yeah.
I was going to try to see, let's try to talk spoiler-free and then get into spoiler. I'm like, fuck it.
Fuck it. No, it's one of those things where there's a lot of, like, things that, if you want me to quickly say the things I didn't like, was that the blaster I'm totally cool with. A lot of people have been complaining about the blaster.
Let's not go too far. Let's start off where we're starting off. Like, we get to see where Solo comes from, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. And his friend, who apparently is...
She's in the Rebel series.
She's in the Rebel series, which I haven't seen the cartoons or the CG shows.
Yeah.
I've seen half of the original Clone Wars animated show, like the 2D one. So that's all I've seen.
Yeah, that I'm fairly sure isn't canon anymore. I think particular one.
Yeah, well,
that particular one isn't. It's so weird. It's so weird because the Clone Wars one and the Rebels, and then there's a new one now because Rebels is over. I can't remember what the new one's called right now.
Are they making one that's with the new trilogy, or are they still going in between trilogies? Of the first two?
No, it's. I think it's still in between. I think it's still in between, but it's after Return of the Jedi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're getting stuff that immediately follows after the Return of the Jedi.
See, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
But it's cool we get to see where it comes from, and like, because I like that the first thing we see with Han Solo is him hotwiring something, because the only time we see him hotwire something was in Return of the Jedi. He's like, well, I guess I can hotwire it, because the fucking R2-D2 gets blasted, and he's just like, there you go. Yeah, see, of course a smuggler would know how to hotwire something. Yeah. So we get to see that right at the gate. I'm like, oh yeah.
But he's not really a smuggler in this movie.
No.
Yeah, like that's the thing is his journey to becoming the smuggler that we know and love, sort of deal. That's sort of the basic premise of the movie, and all the people that got him there, like how he met Lando. Like that was really well done. I really liked, obviously, Childish Gambino, Donald Glover's. I just want to hug him. He's just he's just such a salt of the earth type of guy.
I do want to mention that before the movie was on, we got to see like a little preview thing. Donald Glover did like a whole, this is the Millennium Falcon thing, and that was really cool. Yeah. So he says, I was like, America?
Yeah, he's like, this is his cape room. And you're just like, oh, his cape room,
yeah. And I love in the movie, they're like, why does he have so many capes?
Yeah, I don't know. Not that one. That's my favorite one. Yeah. She's like using it. Kira's using it to put out fire. But like hands down, and I even said this before we went into the movie, I'm like, there are two people that are going to make this movie, like, even if it's bad, even if there's any problems with the movie, there's two characters. And I said it was going to be Lando and Chewie. And oh man, him meeting Chewie and understanding where their relationship comes from. I kind of wish there was a little bit more conflict between the two of them, rather than it just sort of like Chewie just sort of going with it.
I do like that they basically did talk about how he got off Kashyyyk to there.
Yeah.
Because like the Wookiees were enslaved once the war was over.
Yeah, so, once Order 66 happened, the Wookiee planet, they left the battle. Chewie and one of the other generals left with Yoda to send him off to the Dagobah system, right? So he went, and then Chewie got off world, but like he said, they were enslaved. Like the Empire came in, killed all the Jedi, and then just wiped the floor with the rest of the Wookiees. And then, like you said, used them for hard labor, which obviously leads into something that happens later on. But like, I'm glad that those little pieces and those breadcrumbs are given to us, and then we sort of get a small payoff.
I also like that, I like that they didn't really have to explain how Han knows Kashyyyk. How he knows how to speak Kashyyyk. And he actually
speak a little,
and then at the you see the subtitles, he actually speaks it kind of like broken, but Chewie understands what he's saying.
Yeah,
but that's the thing about Star Wars, we never see Han speaking Kashyyyk because he doesn't have to.
He doesn't have, because Chewie knows English. He's known English for a really long time.
In Star Wars, it's always been like, you can say English, and I guess people have auto translators. A lot of people, know. And after that moment, Chewie didn't have to have him speaking Kashyyyk.
Yeah,
he just spoke in English to him.
Well, that was the thing, is Chewie did understand English. It's just the fact that got him out of his sort of like rage, because he had been trapped there for 3 days without any food. Like he was pretty much just, people are being thrown down here, and I'm just going to beat the shit out of them, rip their arms off. Like he was becoming feral. He was becoming a feral Wookiee. But when Han spoke to him in Shiki, then it was like, oh shit, like, yes. Wait, what? This person is actually speaking my language, which doesn't happen very often. It's probably especially in the Empire days, right? Yeah. Whereas in probably a lot of language and other people's cultures are being smashed to the ground.
Do you know what it could be about Star Wars that we don't know? That you can, with us, in order to understand a language or have a conversation with someone, you have to speak the same language. Maybe in Star Wars it's different, where there isn't that limitation. You can learn how to converse with somebody speaking a different language than you.
Yeah,
but you don't
I don't think it has anything to do with translators, because almost everybody else on the crew, other than Chewie and Han, could actually speak to one another. A lot of them asked, "What did he say?"
Yeah.
What did Chewie say?
Yeah.
Like you could. There was.
But Chewie never speaks English.
No,
that's
he never
the thing
does.
too. So like language
he probably can't. Maybe they're like his vocal cords aren't capable of making the sounds that we're able to make, right?
That's true as well. That could be it as well. So.
Like he may be as intelligent as us, but his body like thing, and you hear it in a lot of the other aliens too. They speak their own languages, but usually with subtitles, or their voice are put through like 80 different filters.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like it's not like lazy writing like Mass Effect, where it's like, yeah, everybody just has translators. You know, they just have implants that give them the ability to talk in everybody's language. Where, you know, to get around going to a new galaxy, it's just like they have an advanced AI in your brain that's able to figure it out magically. Yeah. You know, like that type of stuff. So I feel like this felt more concrete. It felt like what would happen if we as a human or us as humans ventured out into space. We wouldn't be able to create a universal translator yet. You'd have to get a bunch of races together, and then just like here, we can hardly get our computers to translate. Google is so good at it. You know, so I'm interested to know that, you know, he somehow picked up and he learned Wookiee.
Yeah.
You know, and that's
exactly.
And it saved, guess what? It saved his life.
Yeah, and there we go. But like, I didn't need an explanation for where he learned it. Like that was the thing.
Well, no, you don't need to know that. Like he's learned a lot of crap when he was on that planet, right? Yeah. And we learned a little bit about his backstory, about his dad, and everything too. So like that sort of set up why he's the type of man that still does the right thing, even though he thinks he's a bad boy. Yeah. You know, it's the idea. It's like he's got the facade of a bear, but he's more like a teddy bear, you know? Yeah.
I think it's interesting that Han joined the Empire for a few years and then left them and joined a ragtag crew of smugglers.
Yeah.
Basically, so he can get his ship. Because the whole thing is he wants to get the ship to get the girl off the planet and yada, yada, yada. But should we talk about that first smuggling scene? Oh, we talked about the Chewie.
Oh, where they're trying to get off world with the crystal stuff.
Yeah, it's like some kind of fuel source or something like that.
Yeah, it's like a super powerful fuel source that's
explosive.
Yeah. Well, it's like instead of it implodes and then explodes.
Yeah.
It's like this weird neutron bomb thing.
And I love how how they're getting it is they're like taking it off of like a train. Like there's like it's like a whole train fight thing. It reminds me of
I thought you were talking about like when he was trying to get off with Kira.
No, not
that one.
Not that
where he gets trapped and he actually gets through, but she doesn't.
Yeah, he gets through because we kind of bounced over to Chewie, so I figured like it's like they were just trying to escape.
Yeah, it was very cliche. Like I mean, like it was the start of any like movie where it's like, oh, I have to go back for the girl, you know, like I was able to get out or she was able to get out or whatever, right? Like that type of story. So it's not there's not a lot to talk about there. That's the only time. That's when he gets his name.
Yeah, but when he but then like the first heist they do, which was like I like it because it's basically like a Western like train heist.
Yeah,
is kind of what it was like. And then the other smugglers come in and they're like, no, this is ours now.
Yeah,
and I also liked it because it showed what happens when, you know, smuggler messes up a job, actually messing up the job. Where Han Solo were always like heard like he dropped off cargo for Jabba the Hutt, but we never saw what that cargo was.
Yeah,
we know what it was, and then they just
or he never got it. Like, and then he's just always running, right?
Yeah,
and I think that's the point of the movie is the idea like he never actually succeeds. Like the only succeeding that he does is he gets that fuel source to the starting point of the rebellion. Of the people starting to rebel against the Empire.
Well, I'd say his only success is in the very end, but we'll talk about that eventually. So yeah, the smuggling thing. There's not a ton to say. It's one of the first action sequences in the movie, and I think it's really good. I think it's cool. We get to see like him and Chewie like jumping all around this train to grab the stuff.
Yeah, and he had one thing that. I was amazed that didn't get a lot of laughs because one of his biggest moments in the original New Hope was Harrison Ford, you know, he like chases after two stormtroopers, right? And then he goes around the corner, and though it's been reduxed in the special editions, he turns around the corner and he's yelling at him. He's like, ah! he's running after them, and he comes around the corner, and there's like hundreds of stormtroopers. He's like, and he runs, and I'm like, he did that again when he was jumping from the plane down to the
did he?
To the train. Yeah, he psychs himself up, and he's like, and he like takes a running jump, and then yells and jumps and hits the train. Whereas in Chewie and Woody Harrelson, I can't remember whatever character he played, but Woody Harrelson, they just jump down, like they're just like they've done it before. Like Chewie, a lot of people forget, like Chewie's like fucking 190. We learned, in the movie. So he's been around for a while, so he knows what he's doing. So you see those two veteran people, and then Han, who's never really had to do something this crazy. And I'm like, it shows little bits of Han from the previous movies, or what technically would be the future in his case. But these are quirks that aren't like he gained these quirks. He just still has them. You know, like the way he talks back to people, or the way that, you know, when something doesn't go his way, he still has that like quip. He's like, well, I was going to do that, you know, like, whatever, you know. Like
I also like it's starting with here. It shows like the bromance between him and Chewie. Like, these guys are gonna be best friends.
yeah.
It's really cool because he's his buddy. They've only known each other for a little while, but he's my pal. He's like, Chewie, don't fall off. You better not fall off.
Yeah, you got to do this by yourself. No falling off. But the one thing, it's like that just before that train heist, that's when we see how Han Solo got his blaster. It was just sort of given to him by this smuggler. But I was very disappointed. Chewie gets to shaft again. Why doesn't he get a whole bowcaster origin story where he got his fucking bow laser gun that he's had forever? I thought he was going to get it sometime during the movie, but he ended up never getting it.
Yeah.
You know, I thought he was going to get it like somehow be like a MacGuffin where it's like in the mines or something.
I feel like it's something he built because just the way that Han acts in Force Awakens, be like, I like this thing.
Yeah.
Like he never thought to use his gun.
Yeah, he never tried.
Probably because Chewie's like, no, my gun. And he's like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But they're just old now, so he's just like, oh, let me try that.
Yeah. I just want to see.
I like this thing.
I like this thing.
So it's almost like it's his. Like I kind of felt like it was like Chewie built the gun, so maybe there's going to be something somewhere where it shows him building the gun or whatever. Be like, what are you doing?
And kudos to the guy that played Han. Like he had obviously filling the shoes of Harrison Ford is a big thing.
Because he was a huge actor in his time.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, he was the one character that I saw from the trailers. I'm like, he doesn't look anything like Han. I don't feel like he's gonna get the mannerisms down, but he totally did.
He did. When I felt that he was in the peak of being Han was towards the end of the movie when they were like running around and they're shooting. The way that he aims and shoots his gun is so Han Solo. That like one arm out. And then the forward where it's just sort of like he's taking pot shots. I'm like, this guy must have studied a lot of how Harrison moved and walked, like how he walks out and clips his gun and everything like that. And then they did something in this movie. They did something in this movie that a lot of people were, I hope people were happy about.
Yeah.
But I'm jumping ahead. We'll talk about that.
I don't quite know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. We'll shove it back a little bit.
So they lose the stuff. Mob boss guy is pissed because his boss is going to be pissed. And the thing that I like about the mob boss guy is, like, he doesn't seem like he's that bad of a guy. He likes the smugglers. He's like, what am I going to tell my boss? Like, I got to tell him something. Because my only other option is he's going to want me to kill you or he's going to kill me.
Yeah, exactly.
I like you. I don't want to kill you. What do we do? He
though I'm fairly sure he, like, I noticed this was something interesting. And I wonder what... that's the thing is, like, we didn't get enough time with the villain to really sort of understand why Kira, for example, feared him. Like, obviously they were trying to keep the big bad guy, into a reveal type of thing, right? But you could see that he was very unhinged because as he got angry, did you notice his face scars started to turn bright red? Yeah, his
eyes got really red.
His eyes got red and everything like that. Like it seemed like he was infected with something, which is very interesting to me personally. Like, I think I'm like, oh man, I would have liked to see a little bit more about why this. I'm like, and he branded people too.
Yeah, he
right?
did.
So there must have been at least a little bit of something here and there as a give and take to sort of see where he came from. And yeah, he was very underutilized, especially for the actor that plays him, because I really like that actor. He actually plays Vision in the MCU.
Yeah.
He used to voice Jarvis, but he became Vision.
Yeah,
in Ultron.
I couldn't put my finger on. I'm like, guy seems familiar. I see him in something else.
Yeah, that's what you've seen him in.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Vision. Okay.
But like, I wish we had a little bit more time. Either like we focus, because obviously the story is about Solo, so it needs to focus on him. But not getting enough about Kira, and then pretty much promoting, saying, "Hey, watch Rebels to know what this is all about."
Yeah. But what I wanted to say is, I did like that the villain wasn't one note. Like, it seemed like, and maybe he was just playing it up, but it seemed like he actually cared about the people who did stuff for him.
Oh yeah.
But also, he has to protect his own neck.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, if you don't get me this, I'm in trouble, and they're going to either want me dead or you dead, essentially. Yeah. It's like I don't want to...
I have to kill you to save face.
I don't want to kill you, but if I have to, I will, basically, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's why he wasn't a one-note villain, which is what I liked, because so many villains are like, who are mobsters were like, well, looks like I gotta kill you now, bye. Yeah. Like, he had a boss, which was why, like...
and that's what I'm saying, is if we had learned more about the boss and his relationship...
And he cared about, he's like, sorry, your crew.
Woody Harrelson's lover, wife. I think her name was Val.
Mm-hmm.
She has to nobly sacrifice herself to save everybody and all that type of stuff.
Like, you're doing all right. He's like,
yeah, well, I'm good. All right.
Which I thought was kind of odd, which was flag number 1. I'm like, why are you so okay with this?
Yeah.
Must have either happened before or
he had already
later on.
From what it sounded like, he had already come to the solution that, all right, it's time to kill these guys, but he was going to say he was sorry that, like he had to lose someone and like everything like that.
No, but I'm talking about the guy that
Woody Harrelson's character?
Yeah.
Like he had already, like when they went in, when Han and Chewie and him went into there, the red something, Red Sun or something like that. He had already, like, he was apologizing and feeling bad, but he was going to kill them. It wasn't until they spoke up about, well, we can go and we can get the unrefined stuff, right? And Kira and Han have a sort of back and forth where they're sort of dealing around to find the perfect solution on how not to die in this situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I liked that. I liked the banter with the villains. Or the villains, or the
villain. There was only one villain.
Yeah, like I like that. Be like how to convince this guy. Let's not shoot all these people right now to save face. So I like that they're like the convincing. It showed also how convincing Han can be. Like, we can do this. It's not a big deal. It's just the Kessel Run.
Yeah.
Just the Kessel Run.
Just the Kessel Run.
Which leads us into getting to.
The dust planet or whatever.
Well, not
it's
just
like
that.
Corellian
Not that.
Like
You're going a little too ahead there. Let's talk about meeting up with Lando.
Oh, okay.
So Childish Gambino, Donald Glover, played a great Lando in this, which I liked. I also liked that the card game they played to introduce him wasn't the one where he won the ship.
Yes.
Like, I was thinking, I'm like, is he gonna win the ship? Nope, he loses it. I'm just like,
well, he lost because Lando cheated.
Yeah.
And that's why it all comes full circle towards the end of the movie. But like, that's the whole thing, is like, he had cheated during it. So Han actually did win the ship. It's just Lando cheated to make sure that he didn't lose.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the interesting dynamic, is yes, Lando is a compulsive gambler. He will gamble with all types of things. And also the fact that I don't know if they may come like cross paths again, but this is one thing that the movie didn't really set up, is because like when they meet up in, was it Coruscant? No, not Coruscant. Whatever that planet that Lando ends. The Cloud City. Yeah. When he meets up in Cloud City, it sounds as if they're actually friends. Like it's like, you dirty, rotten scoundrel.
They must go on more adventures together.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it feels like.
Because at the end, it sounded like Lando hated him and he never wanted to see him again and stuff like that, where I'm just like, I thought you guys were supposed to end up being friends, you know? And the only reason why Lando betrayed him in Empire was the fact that Darth Vader was there.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, which is a little higher on the totem pole.
So oh man, I hope they make some kind of like Han Solo show where it's Han Solo and Lando and Chewie going on adventures, because that'd be funny. It'd be like, because Lando could be like, look, I know you want my ship. For what? As I need to do a job. Well, I'll do it with you. Okay, and then they become bumbling buddies.
Bumbling buddies. But yeah, like maybe there is part of it where it's just like there is some mutual respect between them that they didn't really properly set up in the movie. If this is supposed to be the last time they ever came across one another. I'm not saying it is.
I don't think it is. I feel like this is just that, like, for me, I feels like this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Yeah, because at the, like, I mean, I know I'm jumping ahead, but he is going to Tatooine to start dealing with the Hutts at the end of the movie. Like, that's the next job that Han is going to do. Yeah. Which is what spirals him out of control of not having enough shit for Jabba all the time.
Or you know what it could be? There could be, like, if they did do some kind of TV show, it talks about him becoming one of the smugglers for the Hutts. And then one of the times he's like, I need a crew for this. Lando, what are you doing?
Yeah. That just so happens Lando's working with the Hutts.
Or Lando's just like, I need some money. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Well, he still needs his 20%.
Yeah.
He never got his 20% cut. That was so it's like, Han, you're alive. Where's my 20%? It's like so good. It's just like, that's such a smuggler, suave person.
I think Childish Gambino did a great job playing Lando in this. And just like the way the Falcon is set up, like in Lando style, he's got a bar. He's got like the captain's quarters has like this nice like linen like purple suede bed. He has his own cape closet.
Yeah, that ship goes through so much shit in that movie because everybody, like, when I looked at him, like, man, it looks fucking nice in there. And usually it looks like garbage, you know, like, and they always make jokes about it. It's like, this is your ship, it's garbage. You know, like Luke says it's garbage. Ray called it garbage.
It was new and state of the art then.
It was new in the state of the art then, but it had gone through so much crap during the 12 parsecs run that it turned into the ship that we know and love, which is the piece of.
And Lando's probably looking at it and be like, well, I can fix this, if we're to fix this, and this.
Yeah, the cape closet's got it. I mean, it could still be there.
Yeah,
I never really go to Han's.
Han could have renovated it and been like, you know what, I don't need a cape closet.
Yeah, I don't wear capes. He probably had
Let's knock these walls down.
No, he probably had a holster closet. He went through like 8 different holsters in that movie. Did you see that? I was like, you know, he's slowly looking more and more like Han Solo towards the end of the movie, but I'm like, man, they've changed his belts like 3 or 4 times at least in this. And I'm just like, yeah, no, he's gonna have a holster closet. That's what happens to the cape closet.
Yeah. So they get Lando and they go to, I guess it was Kessel.
Yeah, the mine. It's like a mining planet,
which is, I guess, I don't know if that's part of the Bespin spice mines because they said it was a spice mine.
Yeah.
So maybe,
and a lot of people the Empire sent there for forced labor. And it seems that the Red Sun that Kira worked for with the main mob boss guy, they sent people there regularly to enslave them.
And they have an alliance, but like they don't know.
Oh, should we talk about L3?
Oh my god, we gotta talk about L3.
Yeah. Sassy
robot lady.
Sassy robot. Well, that's all about, you know, the droid liberation. Yeah,
she's the Tumblr bot.
Yeah, she's pretty much Tumblr bot.
I love her.
Yeah, she was awesome. Fantastic. You know, I did like the whole thing. It's like, I have the same problem. She's like, what? You know, I see the way that Lando looks at me. I don't share the feeling. But I thought about it. But no.
And I love her. She's like, how would that work? It wouldn't.
No, she said it would.
Yeah.
It would. It does. But she actually says it does.
No, I think she says it wouldn't. I'm pretty sure.
I thought she said it does. It just does. Because she asked, how would that work? Like, because she was thinking sexually, not just as like a couple. She's like, oh, it would.
No, I think it's like, no, I'm pretty sure she said it would. We'll have to rewatch the movie when it comes out again, but because Kira stopped, she's like, how would that work? And I'm pretty sure she said it wouldn't.
It would. Yeah, like, because there was a little bit of things, and it was interesting because when she, unfortunately, vive la résistance. When she got vive la résistance. So they get, we'll stop a little bit. So they go to this planet, and they get in by pretending that Han and Chewie are being sold off to slavery. Then they take over the command center.
Gotta say, I love that one dude's disguise is the same one Lando uses in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
It's the same fucking
disguise. Same mask, yeah. Same mask and everything. But it must be on the ship. It must be on the Vulcan. Like, there's just this disguise on the Vulcan ship. On the Millennium Vulcan. But with that, they get in. Han and Chewie are able to fight everybody off, and then they get down. And Han has to, while Chewie goes off to save some Wookiees. I don't know if they're his family. I think they're just Wookiees that are enslaved. He goes off and gets the tubes alone.
Yeah.
While everything's going to shit in the command center because L3 is like, liberate all the droids, and the droids just...
And then they release all the slaves. Though we should explain the reason they're going here is because what they were originally getting was like refined of this fuel source, but where they're going is basically to unrefined. And this stuff's explosive, so when it's unrefined, you don't got a lot of time.
Yeah, it has to stay at a certain temperature. If it's too hot, then it overheats and then explodes and kills everybody. So they're trying to get the we're just gonna call it the spice. I can't remember its name. It starts with a C.
Yeah.
And they put it on a cart, and Han's trying to get it out himself, but he doesn't have Wookiee strength. So
and then the Wookiees come help, and then one of the Wookiees is like, who are you? He's like, oh, I'm Chewie's friend.
Oh, and he pets him. Yeah. It's just like
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Oh, okay. Then it's like, yeah, so they get them out, and then everything's going to shit. And poor L3, after, Lando takes he takes the bullet when he goes after L3. She's the first one to go down. And then Lando goes out, and he gets shot in the arm, and then Chewie and Han have to save him and carry him back into the ship. And then they're able to escape the planet. Right? But the Empire has put up a blockade.
Yeah. So there's no way they can get through the normal way.
Yeah.
So Han, clever.
Well, there's a series of events that happen where they're like, there's no way we can navigate this. It's set up early in the movie or that you have to go a specific way through this or you die, right? So they decide to go into the place they're not supposed to and navigate and see if they can find a faster route. But they need to use L3 and upload her to the Vulcan. And I think this is an interesting thing because they used to call the Vulcan it. Like the ship. It was the ship. It was it. Like, we need to go get it. However, after they upload L3 into it, they start calling it her.
Yeah, and I remember, because in the other movies, because Han's like, please, baby, hold together.
Yeah.
It's like, and we're all just like, oh, it's just his car.
Yeah.
No, there's actually a female robot's AI that's merged with the Falcon's computer.
Yeah.
And that's the navigation system.
And that's why it's so fast and it's so maneuverable in such weird circumstances, which gives credence on why someone like Rey could pilot it so well. Because I don't think she's the only one piloting it. The navigation system is also part of that, right? And it's interesting that it gives a character to the Vulcan that I never really thought of before, because we always, like you said, like a car, we refer to them as my baby or her or him, depending upon the situation.
Yeah.
So it just gives us sort of a credence to the idea that there's a lot more in the universe that happens. It's interesting because there's something I'd like to parallel to, but I don't particularly want to talk about it, not just for spoilers of the podcast, but spoilers for you too.
It is something that that I think would be a point of contention for people who don't like the movie. because I could see people being like, oh, really? That's the navigation computer for the Millennium Falcon? That's why it's the fastest ship in the galaxy? People would be like, that's lame.
Yeah, or
I'm like, I like that. It has a story.
Yeah, but I could see how people would see especially with the robot's attitude. A lot of people will label the SJW like, like, oh, I'm oppressed and all that type of stuff. And it feels very ham-fisted, but it's just like, this is a droid that has achieved sentience. But Lando, who's like, I would get her memory wiped, but if I did that, all that navigation stuff is gone. Like all that personal experience is gone too. So that would be such a waste. So I'll put up with that stuff.
That does remind me, like, because when in Empire, when C-3PO is talking to the Falcon, be like, I don't know where your ship got its dialect, but it's very peculiar.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's just like he doesn't understand because he's not a robot that has that kind of emotions. He's just like, I don't understand what the problem is.
Yeah, it's like it's sassing him, right?
Yeah.
The
like,
the actual
3PO, get out of my internal circuits. Excuse me, I'm trying to help.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a part of that is really interesting, you really think about it, gives such a character to the Vulcan that isn't there before. And I think it's probably one of the stronger things that happens in that movie, like other than like you seeing the bromance that grows between Chewie and Han.
And I love also that the movie does when the blockade happens, it's the getting into a bad situation into a worse situation, because then they get into like the weird electric tentacle monster, and then there's the black hole.
Yeah.
So they're trying to lead the tentacle monster into the black hole, and then they're trying to get out of it, and they got to use the drop of that stuff to like boost the Falcon out of there. I also like how
they seem to have a thing about tentacle monsters that we may need to start addressing.
Yeah, because
very soon
the recent Star Wars movies have a lot of tentacle monsters.
It's getting kind of odd.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the pattern now. Like at first when people are like, why do they have that weird slug tentacle thing in Rogue One? I'm like, oh, it's just a means to an end to make sure that someone isn't lying, right? But then more tentacle monsters seem to be appearing, and I'm just like,
somebody in the rank room must be like, we gotta have some fucking
giant fucking squids, dude. You have no idea. Giant fucking squids.
The
space squids.
The tentacle porn fans are gonna fucking love this.
Love it.
This shit writes itself.
Jesus Christ.
Rule 34. There's one writer's like, excellent. Money.
I've done it.
We've got to get more money.
Oh yes.
Fucking
but
God.
Regardless, I thought like those parts of the movie, like they had good moments, but they definitely felt like they were padding. Like they didn't feel like everything, like certain parts of it could have either been shortened or filled with a little bit more.
That scene where they're escaping was a little long.
Yeah.
Like that's, I'll admit that. They could have cut that down.
Yeah.
Like,
to be frank, the tentacle monster didn't need to be there at all. They could have just been, they go into it, and then there's like, they call it the black dwarf or something like that. The red something. I can't remember what it was.
It's a fucking black hole.
Yeah, it's a black hole. It's like, it has a name, and he's like, oh my God, like, what's this? And it is that exact thing. And he's trying to escape that. Why does you have to also add the tentacle monster?
The funny thing is like, if they paced it the same way as there's always a bigger fish scene in Phantom Menace, because that's kind of what I felt like it was emulating.
Yeah.
It would have been better, but it was just felt long. That was one part of the movie I'm just like, this didn't need to be this long.
No. Like I said, just take the tentacle monster out and just have the black hole, which was the problem.
Or even if you want to have the tentacle monster, just cut its scene down.
Yeah, just get it absorbed into the black hole really quickly. Like it went out, like they shot the escape pod out, right? And that shows where the iconic shape comes from of the Falcon, is there's supposed to be an escape pod there, which isn't a retcon. That actually is supposed to be an escape pod port. It's just Han never bought a new escape pod. And it actually is written in a lot of the lore books that he's just like, it was too expensive to get a new escape pod.
Yeah.
Why have an escape pod when the ship can outrun everything?
Exactly.
Like that's the whole idea. So I'm like, it's really clever on how they do that. It should have just been, they shoot the escape pod, tentacle monster goes after it, and then it gets eaten alive by the black hole.
Yeah. And then of course they escape, right?
Yeah, and then they go to the planet that actually refines the spice to turn it into a proper stable fuel source. And then they come across the old smugglers that we came on in the first action piece. Technically it was the second, but I don't count that first part as really an action piece.
And then we find out they're not smugglers; they're part of the Rebel Alliance.
Yes. Yeah.
So Han has a change of heart and decides we're gonna give this to them. And of course, smuggler dude's just
Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson's just like, I'm not gonna be a part of this. I'm getting as far away as possible. And throughout the movie, he's kind of been teaching Han, be like, don't trust anybody.
Yeah.
All these things about
everybody's predictable, all that type of stuff. And yeah, then the triple quadruple cross.
Yeah. So
happens.
the climax of the movie essentially comes to is they're looking to double cross the dude who then was double crossed. They were double crossed by what's his name? Woody?
Yeah, Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson.
Double-crossed them to the mob boss. But then they double-crossed the mob boss because they knew that Woody would double-cross them.
And then Woody double-crosses both of them. Yeah. And then takes Chewbacca to try to take the stuff for himself. And then they fight.
Then they fight, and then it was Kira double-crossing the mob boss, so she could be put in power to eventually be the second hand of Darth Maul.
Yeah, who is revealed to be the leader of this red.
Of the Red Sun, which is canon. It is part of the Rebel thing, and it was one of those things where, because I've watched a bit of Rebel, I haven't watched all, but I know that Darth Maul.
It was a shock to me because I hadn't seen.
Yeah. You knew that Darth Maul was alive?
I knew he was alive because I saw clips. I saw the rematch between him and Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
So I knew he was alive, and I saw that he was in Rebels on a ship or something in one of the parts. So I haven't seen the show, but I've seen clips of it. Yeah. So
and the guy that played him in Phantom Menace reprised his role too.
Was it him?
Yeah, I noticed in the credits that he was the same guy. So that was really cool. And he had more lines in this movie than he had in the Phantom Menace. I
know. Isn't that nuts?
It's so
Isn't
nuts.
that nuts?
Yeah, it's so nuts to think that it took 17 years, more than that. When it came out in 1999, right? Phantom Menace came out
19 years for him to get another line. Jeez, man. Exactly 19 years. Phantom Menace came out in 1999, May 25th.
Yeah.
So exactly 19 years for him to get a few lines.
Just a few extra lines. More lines than he
ever had. The only lines he had in Phantom Menace was, "At last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we will take over the galaxy." And that's it. That's his line.
That's his line. And some grunts. Yeah.
But those
and his sweet parkour.
Exactly.
His bow staff parkour. But it was like, that was such a great reveal because everything, it's like when you see like half a puzzle completed, right? And you have the pieces and you're just like, they just need to be dropped onto the puzzle, and then you just see what needs to be done. Boom, boom, everything's connected. It was like that with me. Yeah. Where I was like, Kira, her name sounds familiar, because remember we were joking about it, the spelling, and I was like, man, that looks very familiar. And then on top of like the Red Sun and everything like that sounds familiar. Yeah. What am I missing? And then as soon as I saw him lean forward and take his hood off, I was like, it's fucking Darth Maul. Holy shit. Why didn't I see this sooner? Like, for a lot of people, that was probably like they knew right away who the guy that he answered to was.
And because I haven't seen Rebels, I wasn't expecting it. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, what?
Yeah, fucking Darth Maul is back.
Yeah.
And he was trying to undermine the Emperor and Darth Vader for like a really long time.
Yeah, I know. Because he felt betrayed, kind of, I guess, at that point.
He hates Sith and Jedis.
But the movie is not over.
No.
What I like is we finally have a standoff between Woody and Solo. And
whatever. I can't remember his name.
I love how it's a Western gunslinger battle, but like there's no like draw. It's just Han just fucking shoots it.
Yeah. Han shot first.
Han only shot.
He's the only person that shot. There was no two people shooting. Exactly. He just shot a guy in cold blood. Like, yes, there was he's probably most likely, and even Woody's character as he's leaning back, he's like, you'd made the right choice there. I would have killed you. Like it's very poetic, but it's such an interesting choice for them to make because that's a big thing. Like one of the biggest jokes in the Star Wars universe, especially after the special edition came out, is Han doesn't shoot first. A man that shoots first isn't redeemable. That was George's explanation, right?
See,
then they made Han do it. You know, and that is his true character. That is the type of person.
It makes me wonder now that Disney owns Fox, if we're finally going to get like Blu-ray releases of the
OG
altered movies. Because the thing is, they did a DVD release, but they used the Laserdisc, the Laserdisc version, which isn't widescreen.
Oh, okay.
It's like letterbox with widescreen on it. Like it
looks like you're looking through a
the quality's really bad, and that was just basically, they just slapped it on there. Like, they're like, people are bugging us for this. Let's just give it to them once.
Yeah.
And they'll never ask for it again because it looks so bad. Like, just stuff like that. And it's just like, I feel like, that they're going to re-release those films, give the option for both versions. Just the option. That's just something that I think people want. It doesn't matter. You know,
because there's I will defend almost all the changes that happened in Empire Strikes Back. Like, he didn't really change.
There wasn't a ton to be changed.
Yeah, like it was just making it look like Cloud City. Instead of it looking fucking claustrophobic, it looked like a Cloud City. It looked like what it was supposed to.
Yeah, that was fine. The additions.
Yeah,
some people are upset that he replaced the person who originally voiced
the Emperor,
Boba Fett.
Oh yes, they did that to make it follow with the trilogy and the Emperor, because there's the Emperor scene where you see the guy that plays the Emperor.
That change I'm okay with because it
makes sense because they didn't really know what the Emperor was going to look like back then when they made that movie. So it's good to see it there, though it does kind of stick out because you can definitely tell that like it's not within the 80s makeup style and stuff like that. So it does stick out a little bit, but those are the only big changes that were like story wise that really got people going like, wow, why does Boba Fett have a different voice? Why is the prequel Emperor talking to Vader? And you're just like, well, it all makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, when I was interested because the people in front of us, just going back to Darth Maul for a sec, the people in front of us, they thought it was Anakin sitting there. I'm like, that, like, I wanted to like be like, are you guys like stupid? Like, Anakin can't live without his Vader suit. Like, you know that. You should know that. You're in this movie, you know, and you can see them where they were looking at each other saying how terrible the movie was, and I was like, what's going on? Like, why are you guys complaining about something that you thought Anakin was the reveal?
Yeah.
You know,
it's did nobody watch episode 3? Like,
apparently,
or Rogue One, him getting his suit like maintenance happening. Like, it's just he's a fucking burnt piece of bacon.
He can't just sit there with a cloak on. He's in pain. It's just 24/7. Even in the suit, he's in pain because it amplifies his Sith powers.
It's like people forgot the prequels even happened. Like, they're just like,
you know, there's some people that have petitioned that they wipe the prequels and now obviously wipe the new trilogy off the face of the earth as canon.
It's never gonna happen. It's under Disney now.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, unless somebody buys it from Disney and is like, all of this never happened except the movies exist.
Yeah,
but yeah, the final scene after the big fight and all that is
so he gets off the planet. He gets off the planet. The leader mob boss is dead. Kira has taken over as the informant for Darth Maul.
And is left on the
and then she leaves. And during all this, before everything happens, Lando just pieces the fuck out.
He just pieced the fuck out.
Which
I love a point where like he's like, there are 30 guys on there, and all I gotta do is get the signal, and they'll come out, and then Lando just fucking bolts.
Flies off. Oh, I'll let you do the talking now. It's just like, that's so Solo, like that's so Han that it's like, see, this is why I liked it. Like, a lot of it was him. And yeah, it wasn't Harrison, and I'm very glad that they didn't fucking digitize some sort of monstrosity to make him look
They didn't do any
that.
of that this time.
Yeah.
Like they did with Rogue One.
Well, Rogue One, I because of how close it was to A New Hope. Like it was a prequel up to the next 5 minutes A New Hope starts, right? So seeing Tarkin, seeing Leia in their CG forms, young, like, and obviously Tarkin, he was dead by this point, so they needed to put in a lookalike, and then they digitized his face, which was really well done.
Yeah.
Like in this one, it would be weird that they would throw something like that in. Yeah. Whereas in Rogue One, I understood why it was there, and it didn't pull me out of the movie.
Exactly.
Because it was incredibly well done.
Exactly. And then, but yeah, so he gets off, and then he meets up with his boy Lando again. And Lando's like, oh, fuck. And he's like, hey, buddy. And I'll just take that out.
Yeah, so he gives him a big hug, and he actually takes the extra card out of Lando's side cheating pocket. And then there's that immediate realization as they get the Vulcan back on the table of winning in the bet. He realizes as he's touching the thing, there's no card there. And then even Han's like, wouldn't it be great if you had this? But I win. And a man of his word, Lando did give him the thing. Now, he always says that he always cheated. He cheated his way into getting the Vulcan. Which I think is, technically true, is you took the card that the guy was going to use to cheat against you. So you cheated.
You can't. The cheater got cheated.
Yeah, the cheater got cheated. So henceforth, Han cheated to win because he had to out-cheat the cheater by cheating the cheater.
Exactly. it's hard to follow.
It's hard to follow, but it makes sense. But it makes sense. And then from there, him and Chewie, they hit all the buttons together, and then they punch the light speed together, and then it's movie over.
Yeah. So
we didn't actually stay for if there was any end credit stuff. Yeah. I didn't actually check to see if there was.
I don't think there is. They don't do that for Star Wars that often.
Yeah, I don't remember them doing it for The Last Jedi or Force Awakens.
Yeah. They don't really do it for Star Wars. It's mostly
they definitely didn't do it for Rogue One.
So yeah, that's Solo. Right now I like it. I mean, I'll have to give it a second watch.
Yeah, I definitely, it's one of those ones where will it hold up a second viewing? Where it wasn't just sort of like the awe and amazement. I will state that some of the action was pretty hard to follow there.
Yeah, some of it was.
On what's really happening. During the train scene, as cool of a set piece as it is, it took two people to uncouple one on each side, and they did it with no problem, but Chewie having to do two at once became an issue. Then they did the whole last car before it takes off, they did the cliche shit. I know, but and then the self-sacrifice, why did this woman need to sacrifice herself? He's like, jump off. It's like, no, I'm gonna blow myself up with it because that's the only way. Because she was pinned down, I guess. She would have been shot by the fucking droids or something.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing is there's a lot of things that during the action, that whole thing in the salt mines was a clusterfuck of what the fuck's going on. They're like, we have to take out those guys that have those guns that could shoot down the Falcon, L3, oh god, Lando, no, Han, Chewie, come and save us. I
did love how Chewie just picked up Lando picking up L3.
Yeah, it's just
come on.
Yeah, it's fucking Chewie. He's able to he's fucking straight Wookiee strength.
Exactly.
Yeah, I need that Wookiee strength, man. Exactly. But that's the thing is the action scenes seem very busy. The very, very first one, that chase scene with Han and Kira, when they're in Corvellia, I believe the planet was.
Yeah.
That was a bunch of nonsense. We didn't really get to see the city. It was more along the lines of, look at how fast we're going, and now there's a big truck after us. with that also has dogs on board just in case they go on foot, that's what I'm saying is when I describe it out loud, those are the things that I took away from that. It wasn't the trench of the Death Star, right? Where it's this iconic feeling of tension on top of not only just special effects at that time back in 1979, but it's that feeling of these action things, shit's happening, but not memorable shit. Yeah. It's just sort of as a whole, all right, that train scene. But you can't pick one thing out of the train scene that you're just man, that was so fucking good.
Exactly.
You know?
But I mean, like, as a whole, I really like the movie, and I think that everything comes together. There's some stuff that I wish was cut down, like the black hole thing.
Yeah.
The train scene is one that maybe could have been cut down a little bit. But it's not like the casino scene in
it isn't that so out of place. Nothing feels so out of place to the tone of the movie, right? Whereas in the casino felt like what we normally like in any Skyrim or Fallout. It's like a side quest that, yes, it has a merit. It has a point that does sort of lead back and enrich you a little bit about the world after the Empire, but it's not necessary. There are things that could have been just 2 or 3 things taken out of that and put into a more thing, like adding, instead of having like a bunch of like no-name people chasing them in the Fallout, why not Phasma? Why couldn't Phasma have been the one chasing them, right? And it leads more into, you know, all the stuff with what's his Finn and Phasma, because again, she was underused in that movie.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and like that's the thing is, like, if you just plucked a little bit of that and said, as much as you want to show the world and show us how big the world that Star Wars is, you need to still tell it in a proper way that it doesn't seem sort of fisted in there just to make the movie half an hour longer.
This is the way you said fisted in.
It is. It's like the whole thing. You just like, no, just imagine, it's like you have this perfectly good linear timeline story, and then someone's like, yeah! And then people are like, well, that doesn't make sense. Like, well, then I'll wiggle some in here and wiggle some in there. Boom. See, everything's connected now. But the story now is like, oh, I feel bloated and full. And, you know, just...
Regardless, I think it was pretty good.
Yeah.
And we'll have to let it settle a little longer, get a second look to see how we feel about it in the future.
Yeah. Definitely when it comes out on either DVD or like rental here on Apple TV or something.
Digital, yeah.
Then I'll give it a little gander a watch. I don't know if I'd buy it though. I've
not bought any of the new Star Wars movies because I'm like, I want to wait for a box set, because they always do a fucking box set.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just like, I want a box set that has all the special features, because that's the problem. A lot of the times they'll release it and they'll put some of them on it, and then they'll eventually do a big set with all the stuff on it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I haven't gotten the Blu-rays for the original two trilogies. I want to, because they have exclusive stuff that's not in the other box sets yet.
It also has like if you went Blu-ray, it has new shit added to it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's another version of it. So I want to get them. It's just they're so fucking expensive. Like,
oh yeah, but it's like
Star Wars.
Star Wars has always been a big giant marketing cash cow of money and franchise written all over it. You know, like when George Lucas had that hit way back in 1979. He didn't look at that as like, oh, I'm making movies. He looked at it as like, I'm gonna make a lot of money. I'm gonna make a lot of money on just like building up this fan base, right? And, you know, by making toys. That's why a lot of people always say that Return of the Jedi isn't as good as they originally thought it was, because it did follow the line of a lot of sort of marketing and stuff like that, where they wanted to market more to kids. So they put Ewoks and stuff like that in, you know, like something for the kids to like.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And like, I never had a problem with them when I was younger. I loved the trilogy as it was when I was younger, but on critically viewing it as an adult, I can see where a lot of people are like, now they're like, yeah, but why though?
But why Ewoks?
Yeah, but why?
Why Ewoks?
Yeah, like it's a philosophy that I've done with a lot of literature and movies and video games, is the philosophy of, okay, cool, but why though?
Exactly.
You know, and I use that as my basis on like how much I care about something. Yeah. If I can say, okay, cool. Yeah. You know, like, yeah, it's not explained, but whatever, you know, like, it's just, I'm having enough fun. It's like the stuff that I say
like when I watch Fast and the Furious, we talked about this, a couple podcasts ago, where I'm like, Fast and Furious is my like little guilty pleasure thing, right? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of like, but why though in that movie? Mm-hmm. But I'm totally cool with like everything in it because I think it's so ridiculous that I'm just happy. I'm happy it exists. Just give Vin Diesel more cars to race.
All right. Well, I mean, I think that does it for this. What we're going to do is we've been talking for an hour just about this movie. So we're going to take one more break and then we're going to come back with the questions and comments. And if we don't have any, we'll just wrap it up.
All right.
So don't go anywhere. I swear to God.
See, that makes sense if we were live, but we're not.
I've been drinking a lot of water.
You're going to need to pee.
I'm going to pee so bad.
We're talking waterfalls
Waterfall.
here.
Niagara Falls.
The Canadian side, which is a lot bigger than the American side.
Yeah.
We have a lot more falls, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. But welcome back, everybody. So I checked. Still no comments or questions.
No, that's fine.
Still new, I guess.
Like I said, it's still new, and we don't mind you lurking and listening is totally fine.
We know we've had.
Maybe we're answering all their questions. Did you ever think about that?
Maybe we are answering them all. I don't know.
Every time they're like, I'm gonna ask him what he thought.
Tweet us if we're doing it.
Doing a good job. Yeah.
If you would like to leave us a question or a comment, you can use the hashtag 100base podcast on Twitter or Facebook, really, because it'll work on there now.
Yeah.
Not 100base. We've learned our lesson with that one. 100base podcast is the one we're going to use. But let's just finish up with if there's anything we're really working on or coming through. Well, Naruto Bridge 32 is going to be happening soon.
Yeah, it's happening really soon.
It's almost done. I'd say it's about 75 to 80% done the editing process, even more than that.
It's probably got about a week left of editing just to make it.
Maybe, yeah. I don't want to say it's going to be out next week or anything like that, but it's because I still have to work and everything. But it should be out soon, sometime this month. Mm-hmm. But when I say sometime this month, I mean June because this will be coming out in June. Hopefully not too much longer working on that. I do have 2 reviews in the works. I'm going to get back on the hop on my Zero's Maverick hunting after the next episode of that once NTS 32 is done. And I do have a quick hunt I'm working on as well that I'm also working on. Is there anything you're working on?
So I have a review that is almost done. Like it's almost quick to the presses almost. Mm-hmm. So that's going to come out most likely sometime mid-June, late June. Yeah. I'm going to say sometime in June, not even going to give a date. Just say in June, a review's coming out. Afterwards, I'm going to go full steam on finishing ITAS 11.
Mm-hmm. Inuyasha Bridge 11.
Inuyasha, the Bridge series, episode 11. And that covers the episode of the Ancient No Mask. So that's going to be fun. Then after that, I have 2 more reviews sort of sitting in the wings, but also we're going to be scripting episode 33 most likely.
Naruto episode 33 Naruto Bridge.
So those are projects that I will be working on. So I've got at least 2 more reviews that I'm working on, plus I'll start scripting for Inuyasha and Naruto pretty soon.
Yeah, well, so that's what's in the pipeline for us. So that's basically it for this podcast. If you want to follow us, I'm mostly Zeromaster LP on most of my stuff. And you're basically Canadian Jutsu on everything.
I'm Canadian Jutsu on everything.
And your channel's at the L's and I's, but if you just search Canadian Jutsu, both your channels come up.
Yeah, as long as it searches as one word.
Canadian Jutsu is one word.
It's not 2. Unless you want some sick Taekwondo lessons from some guy.
Canadian Jutsu.
Some guy in Winnipeg. He's got it going on, dude.
Well, if you're some guy in Winnipeg, then...
if you're that guy, I love you. You got to teach me that.
It's Canadian Jutsu.
Yeah,
and you'll teach them the Canadian Jutsu.
So yeah, exactly. That's great.
All right. Well, that's pretty much it for us, guys. Thanks for watching. And next time, I'm trying to space these out so they're not the same week as the River City Gamers podcast.
Yeah.
So I'd say probably 2 weeks after this one's posted, expect the next one. Sorry we had a bit of a hiatus. Anime North happened, and
Yeah, no, there was a lot
happened.
Yeah, lots of travel.
I'm
lots
on
of
vacation
fun.
right now.
Yeah,
essentially doing this.
exactly. So he's working for you.
I'm working for you, not that guy. You. So,
say hi to your sister. She's probably sitting right beside you, going, "Look, why are you watching this, two dorks?" It's okay. It's okay.
I may have winked at the camera.
Yeah. Focus.
But anyways, guys, thanks again for watching the podcast. We'll see you next time. And take care. Comb your hair. In a rush, use a brush.
And stay frosty.
Don't look at me like that. Your serious Coke face.
Yeah. I'm like the international man of mystery, but with Coke.
just do like a.
I don't always drink Coke, but when I do, I drink it in a glass.
We're done, guys. We're done. See you later. This is not so bad because I can see the waveform on the camera and match it to this. So
Gotcha.
not as big of a deal.
Ugh.
So just let me know when you're ready.
As like slowly a car is coming to crush you, you're just like. He looks really worried too.
He's like, no. Oh God, it's like that's an old Kajeto-kun video. Oh God, it's gonna crush me. I was like, I've seen this before when I saw the OVA. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Oh, this is some good extra stuff for the end, I guess. This banter stuff.
Oh man. We have done it.
We done it, yes.
We have done it.
Yes, we done it.
It has been done.
All right.